What is up, guys? It is Wyatt, and today I have a shorter video for you guys. We are going to be working on the project drag truck, but before we hop into that, just a couple of quick updates. You guys have been asking a lot of questions regarding the 1200 horsepower Duramax engine build, and that is still coming very shortly. We just had a couple of small hiccups that we are waiting to get corrected before we can assemble the engine. So as you can see here, we have the crankshaft here on the ground and then the engine here. I've gone ahead and painted the block already, and I also had to bring the block back to the machine shop to have them open up my piston to wall clearance a little bit more. In the first video to do with that engine, I had mentioned that we were going to be running a 6,000 piston to wall clearance. I ended up upping that number to an 8,000 piston to wall clearance just to give us a little bit more cushion for those pistons to expand and whatnot. The engine build's also on hold because of the crankshaft. As you can see, it is down there and all taped up, ready to be shipped out. I'm actually going to be sending that back to Cali's crankshafts so that they can inspect it. I bought that crankshaft about 1.5 years ago, and it was around the same time that they had a manufacturing issue with them. I don't know the whole story, but there's been some talk about issues in the thrust bearing area of the crankshaft. So I reached out to Cali's. They said that they would cover the charges for shipping it and everything, and to ship them the crankshaft, they would look over it and make sure it was not one of the ones that was affected. So that is why we're on hold with the engine build project. I am going to be shipping that guy out tomorrow, and hopefully I can have it back within a week or so. And then once the crankshaft is back, it's full swing getting the engine put together. But for today, we're going to focus on the actual truck. There's a bunch more stuff that I need to get off of this thing so we can start getting our cab location correct. And it's kind of going to be a short video like I mentioned. I'm waiting on a ton of parts for this cab. I've ordered about $2,000 worth of like body parts and a hood and all kinds of stuff. But for today, I am going to try and get the cab set on the frame exactly where I want it. And I'm also going to be stripping down like this core support and the wiring off of the engine and getting all that stuff out of the way so we have a better idea of what we're working with. So let's go ahead and jump into things. Like I said, I'm not really sure how far I'm going to get on this thing today, but there's just like a ton of little things that I want to accomplish. So we'll go ahead and flip the camera around and jump into all of that. Well guys, like I mentioned, it's gonna be a pretty short video for you today. It is already Sunday afternoon, so I didn't have a whole lot of time this weekend to work on the truck. And tomorrow I have to get back on getting other things done because I leave Thursday morning to go to World Cup finals. So I'll be out of town and there's just some other stuff that's more important I need to finish up. Kind of like this truck here behind me. You guys might notice this thing. This is the Project Runaway Duramax truck. I did get this thing completely finished up and running, but in the morning I need to put a fresh set of injectors in it as I had one kind of go AWOL. Don't really know what happened with it, but we're gonna be putting some injectors in that truck. A bunch of you guys have been asking kind of where that guy's at, so it is up and running. I do plan to make a video on that truck. I've got like a bunch of footage that I recorded of it. I just never got around to editing. So yeah, maybe someday here I will finish putting together videos on that thing. But before we leave off on this one, I want to turn the camera around and show you guys this truck. As you can see, I went ahead and threw the grill on it and the fenders and whatnot, and this thing is looking really freaking cool, and I'm getting super pumped about how it's going to turn out. So yeah, here's just a couple little side shots of it. Going to look really sweet. So on the screen right now is a couple of pictures I took earlier. This is when I just was kind of mocking up the turbos and I thought it looked really sweet, so I took a bunch of pictures of it. So yeah, looking really badass, but unfortunately the Valley turbo is sitting way too high. I went ahead and set the hood on there and I just have nowhere near enough room to be able to run that turbo with the factory hood. Now there's a couple of ways I could get around this. I could put a big cowl induction hood on the truck, which I'm not really a fan of. I don't think these older trucks look good with those, but that would give us a lot more clearance. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the route I'm gonna go. I already ordered a stock hood for it. So what's gonna end up happening is we're gonna be doing a remote mount turbo setup. So on these Duramaxes, if you guys aren't super familiar with them, the factory turbo actually sits up here in the valley, and by doing a remote mount system, you actually take that turbo and mount it remotely somewhere on the side of the engine or whatever, and that's what I'm gonna end up doing. So I'm gonna have just one long crossover pipe that comes over here, and then right off of this manifold, I'm gonna have a pipe that comes up. It's gonna go to a T4 flange somewhere in here and keep it really close to the engine, or a little bit of ways, but somewhere over in this vicinity. That 475 will be mounted, and then I will still be rocking the big compound turbo up front here, and then it will just all be piped in over on this side. What that's going to help with is a ton of hood clearance, and it's actually going to let me lower the cab another 3 to 4 inches on the frame. As you guys can see, we still have quite a bit of fender area here, and I'd love to get the truck as low as I can on the frame. So all in all, it's just going to work a lot better to go that route, and it's going to look better in the long run. Another benefit to mounting the turbo somewhere over here on the side of the engine is going to be the Y-bridge setup. So I was going to have a hell of a time trying to get the Y-bridge set up in here with that big turbo up here in the valley. There's just really no way to get my piping in there, especially because this is only 2-inch and I want at least a 3-inch inlet on this for the amount of air volume that we're going to be moving. So in the long run, I will be able to take these manifolds, these intake manifolds off and flip them around, and then I can just build a new Y-bridge piece here. Or I'm going to look into doing the Wagler Street Fighter intake, which is just a really cool intake manifold, and it's just got a big V-band clamp on the backside. I believe it's 3.5, maybe 4-inch, maybe it's 3-inch, I don't really remember. But it's a really nice cast piece. It's just very expensive for what it is. So we'll get into that a little bit more later on. But for right now, that is the plan. We're going to move the turbos off to the side, and that'll be really cool. And that's just going to alleviate a whole lot of issues that we're going to have with packaging everything under the hood. Another big issue that I am fighting with packaging is going to be our twin CP3 pump that sits right over here in this area. So what we're going to end up doing is moving that thing down to the side of the engine over here. So what's going to happen is the pump will be mounted down here, and I'll have to make some new high pressure fuel lines to go up and feed the injector rails. But it shouldn't be too bad. I've already started mocking everything up, and I'm going to have plenty of room to mount it right over here, and it'll be in the correct rotation as well. And then I'm going to be going with a smaller alternator that'll be mounted over here on the side as well. And that will allow us to really lower the cab down that other 3 to 4 inches like I was mentioning, and we won't have any issues with the hood being anywhere close to the engine. So just some other things that I need to kind of think about how I'm doing. I've got a really good idea of what I want to do, but making it happen is the biggest thing. So anyways, that's all going to be in future videos when we get back to working on this thing. But for tonight, I think I'm going to get out of here early, go home and edit this video for you guys, and then get to work in the morning on some other stuff. So it's probably going to be a week or so before I get a new video for you guys, so bear with me. The Duramax build is coming soon. Like I mentioned earlier, I am shipping that crankshaft out in the morning, and whenever that thing gets back, we'll be building the engine for this truck. So big things coming, just gonna take some time. You know, I'm not rich, I don't have all the time in the world, so slow but steady, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content so far. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a like and a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.